All right, guys, let's talk real estate. You know, it's crazy out here. The last few years have been a roller coaster. And in all reality, what I'm learning, because this is not one of those businesses that you ever 100% just have all the information you need. You constantly learn year by year. Things change. You're learning every single year. You know, you've had people in this business that have been in it 20, 30, 40 years. And because they've stopped having the idea that they need to learn every year, read up on anything new in the market, that they just don't do things right anymore. And as crazy as that is to hear, it's the reality. So I feel like for homeowners or anybody that's looking to be a homeowner, not to focus as much on the amount of time an agent has been in the business, but talking to an agent and listening to them and making the most sound decision based off of their knowledge, based off of, are they still hungry to do this? Is this something that they still take seriously? Complacency can be a problem. A lot of times, this is the biggest decision that you'll make. It's a lot of money to deal with to put it in somebody's hands that is complacent. That can happen with somebody that's been in the business 2 years or someone that's been in the business for 30 years. So you can kind of get a feel for the most part of somebody and their intentions by talking to them, by having a sit down, old school conversation. So having somebody that will have your best interest when it comes to those negotiations, or it comes to those times where they need to fight for you when you're not around each other, you need to look for those things in an agent as well. I've been in the business, licensed for about 2.5 years now. So I've seen a lot. And I know that seems like a small, short amount of time, but I also have family that's been in the business for over 15 years. So I've seen a pretty good amount of things in the business. And I used to be intimidated in the beginning. I used to be intimidated thinking like, oh, this agent's been in this business for 20, 30 years. Like they have to know more than I do. They have to be able to go through this more than I can. And when you're in the business for a certain amount of time, you just realize that that's not true. So it's just a few tips, a few things that I think you should look for. The second one to me would be ego. You have a lot of agents in this business that have egos. So having a big ego can kind of get in your way. There's a book I've read, I don't know, maybe 5 times at this point, called The Agent's Edge. The Agent's Edge by Jordan Cohen. He's a agent here in California, like myself, but he's a killer. And in the book, he kind of explains it perfectly. He says, we're not school teachers. We're not doctors. We're realtors. You know, and I love my job. I love what I do. But let's not get so egotistical that we forget that we're agents. So the same kind of way that I feel about just being humble and grateful about the opportunities you do get to work for clients. You get to work for people. So I just felt like a couple tips that'll help you as a buyer or a seller is to look for agents that are humble, grateful, don't really have a big ego, still have tenacity, still want to do it, and not to focus too much on the time they've been in the business, but the knowledge they have of the business. So those would be my 2 key things to look for to help you find a really good agent.